Hello, good evening, and welcome to Fettling Flames. It's another Friday, yay! And you're welcome here, wherever you're joining me from. You're very much welcome. Please indicate in the comment section where you're joining me from. And this is episode 5 of Fettling Flames. Wow. So today we are going to be talking about sane, sound, and sensible. But before we go ahead, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Precious Nduku Pascal, and I'm the founder of the Royal Oak Woman. I'm so glad to have you here today, and I'm your host on Veteran Flames, really. So let's dive into the matter of the day. Sane, sound, and sensible. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. Please let us know in the comment section that you're with us and where you're joining us from. So, the world we live in today is laced with noise, confusion, debates, discontent, chaos, conflicting opinions, outwitting innovations, and endless change. We live in a world that is ruled by unseen yet perceived concepts and relatable factors like politics, technology, media, artificial intelligence, propaganda, terrorism. These things are things that determine our world. They are things that control the world. They are like the power control system of what happens in the world. We live in a world where truth is being replaced with ideologies, where morality is replaced with wokeness, where true worship is replaced with secularism. And these are the times when our sense of values seem to be shaped by algorithms, clicks, likes, comments, shares. A time where trends determine your confidence, your value, and belonging can only be achieved by desperate measures. Such are the times that we live in. And in such times, it's very important that we take out time and ask ourselves these very important questions. Are we sane? Are we sound? Are we sensible? In such a time, it's very important that your sanity is maintained, your soundness of mind is maintained, and your sensibility is intact. But let's break it down a little. What is sanity? What does it mean when you say that somebody is sane? So to be sane means to have a healthy mind, a rational mind, a mind that is capable of showing reason and good judgment. To be sane is not merely just having your clothes on and acting all coordinated. It goes beyond that. It's about having your faculties, your mental faculties, working in good condition. It's about maintaining mental stability and clarity in the face of everyday choices and challenges. A person may be fully clothed, may look good, smell nice. When they pass you, you turn back. But then, in their minds, they are naked. Their minds are squeezed into this box. They live in this world where everything is disorganized. The things that they process in their mind cannot produce effective results. And if someone is in such a state, you cannot truly say that that person is sane. We live at a time in the world where, issues of mental health like depression, anxiety, and all the likes are becoming more prevalent. And why is that? Because people are truly not okay. People are truly not okay. And when these pressures, when these things start to clog on the mind, it begins to tell on their output. It begins to tell on their reactions. It begins to tell on the things they say, in what they do, in how they act. And it's unfortunate that in such a time where many have struggles in their minds, the only place they find convenient to let it out is by the things they share on the media. We're going to come back to the issue of social media, but let's look at what it means to be sound. We've talked about being sane, being mentally correct, mentally put together and organized. What is being sound? So being sound, it goes beyond just having a mind that is healthy. It means to be free from injury, from defect, and from decay. It is the state of mind where a person is excellent in both mind and spirit. So when we're talking about soundness, we're not just referring to the mind, we are also referring to the spirit. It's a situation where a person's spirit is strong, deep, rooted, and unshaken by error, by deceit, by manipulation, or whatsoever it looks like. So when you talk about a person whose mind is sound or who is sound, you're talking about somebody who has a sense of spiritual value. You're talking about somebody who knows where they are rooted in their spirits. Their spirits are not driven about. Their souls are not distorted. Their spirits are not invaded. Yes, because someone's spirit can be invaded. And so we go back to the issue of social media. So social media has become a place where people share their thoughts, right? Where people express whatever that comes to their mind. And there are so many outlets. It's like an uncontrolled system, in as much as sometimes the people who put those things in place, who created those things, try to put some measure of control. But the truth is that it has gone beyond control. It's a place where everybody, sane and insane, is a teacher. Where everybody has an opinion, has a mindset, has something to share, has something to teach, whether or not they know what they are saying. It's a place where people are valued based on the number of people that follow them, based on the number of impressions they make, based on the number of likes, based on the number of content, based on how viral they go. And it doesn't matter if they went viral for the wrong reasons. What matters is that they are popular. And so in such a time, we see a lot of people who are found, who in the real sense of the word, they may not have gotten a platform. Nobody might have given them a stage to speak or to say the ugly things that they have imagined and concocted. But because they have their own space and they own their voice, They become confident in their ignorance and in their evil. They become loud in their misinformation, in their corrupted state, and they start to give away informations that are destructive. Some of these people, if you go closely, you will find out that their spirit is not sound. There are so many things that they have accumulated. Some of them have had terrible demonic encounters, and they have become a tool, a puppet in the hand of Satan to propagate evil. There was a place in the scripture where, in the book of Romans, the writer was talking about people who are inventors of evil things. They sit down and they think evil through, and they think about strategic ways to push out those evils. They package it in form of education, ideology, mindset, strength, change, innovation, intelligence, and they sell it. And people, gullible people, vulnerable people, undiscerning people buy into those things. When you look at the entertainment world, you see a lot of packaged nonsense, things that do not have meaning, things that do not have worth, things that cannot change a person's life. Someone wakes up and develops a song about, things that are very dirty, and they put it out there, and people buy these things with their own money and listen to it, dance to it, vibe to it, enjoy it, and it goes deep down into their soul. If a person engages in such, they can never be sound. I would question the soundness of their mind and of their spirit. So we even see it in movies. There are some movies that when you watch them, you're asking yourself, so someone sat down and thought about this. How did this person come up with this inspiration? How do they think through such things and not just, keep it in their heads? They produce it and they bring it out, and it becomes something realistic to the world. The truth is that sometimes those people didn't go solo. Many times they have a backup plan or a backup system. They are being inspired. They are being engineered by some spirits, by some strange elements. The Bible talks about beasts without bodies. There are spirits that move in the air looking for bodies to occupy, because they cannot operate by themselves. They cannot operate in their natural states because they do not have bodies. That's why they are spirits. So when they go out, they go about looking for an available body to get into. And that was why Jesus was telling his disciples at one time, and he was saying, if a spirit leaves a man, he going about in the wilderness, looking for where to settle. He keeps wandering. And when he doesn't find a place to rest, because it is a spirit form, he comes back to see if that person's heart, if that person's soul is empty. And if it is, he doesn't just enter. He goes back and gets 7 other more demons that are stronger than him. Because the first time he went alone, they chased him away. Now he comes back fortified, so that when he comes in, they can't be easily chased out anymore. So these are the things that are going on in our world. People being invaded by spirits, people being invaded by demonic elements, controlling what happens in us. Excuse me. Apologies for the break in transmission. So these are the things that we are dealing with in today's society. And everything you see that happens or that is happening today, they aren't just, things that just happen. There is a control system. The world, as it were, is controlled from the realms of the spirit. And this control means that many things that we see play out, they weren't just instantaneous. They have been calculatively designed to play out. So it could be that most of what we are living on the earth is a blueprint that has been written. Yes, it is a design that has been written, and we are following it. So there is a blueprint of iniquity, of sin. There are people who have sat down and decided that this way of life should become a new trend. Let's change the ideology of how people view marriage. Let's change how people see parenting. Let's change how people live their lives as teenagers. Let's change how people make the right choices. Let's influence the educational system. Some people have sat down and partnered with the devil to do these things. And that's why you'll be shocked that somebody is on the internet spewing things that should not be spoken about, things that should not be said, things that have no weight. Yet, people are applauding him. People are celebrating him. People are buying into it. Why? Because they are not acting solo. Their spirits are corrupted. Their spirits are not sound. Let's talk about being sensible. To be sensible means to have a high degree of consciousness, to be emotionally alert, active, and aware, to be discerning in taking steps, and to have a person's mental faculties balanced. So when you say that you are sensible, it is that you are acting from a place of consciousness. Your actions are calculated, thought through. And when someone looks at the way you have behaved, they can really say that this person is acting from a place of balance and rationality. This person is coming from a place of knowledge, wisdom, insight. They are not just acting random. They are not just doing things that come to their mind. They are acting from a place of information. Now, senses doesn't just come to you. Yes, we have the 5 senses of the body, or the 6 senses rather. But your senses come in the raw form, and until they are processed, you will not have a qualitative output. So there is a place of processing the senses, processing your ability to be conscious, your ability to take decisions, to make steps, to engage in a way that is productive. And this is one of the reasons why education is recommended, because what education does to you is that it refines your mind. It refines your thought process. It organizes your mental faculties. And it sharpens your reasoning capacity. So, but when we say education, we don't just mean the traditional education of going to school and being able to read. Beyond that, there is a place of acquiring knowledge, wealth of information. Let's talk about, how we can remain sane, sound, and sensible. Why is it important? And how can we do that? We need to remain sane. We need to remain sound. We need to remain sensible so that our sense of judgment, our discernment, our appropriateness is not blinded by either emotional attachment, sentiments, popularity, trends, or just a sheer sense of uncalculativeness. It's important that we constantly bring ourselves to that place where we remind ourselves that we need to stay sane, that we need not be distracted. Because it's so easy to get distracted these days. It's so easy to lose your focus. You can set out to say, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to live my life in this way to please my maker. I'm going to live a life that is worthy, morally sound, spiritually stable. But then when you look just beside you, everyone around you seems to be going in one naughty direction. And you begin to doubt yourself. Have I taken a wrong step? Have I made a wrong choice? Am I the foolish one? Because we're in a time where wisdom looks like stupidity, where truth looks like lies, and the lies have been accepted as the truth. We live in a time where if you are not part of the trend, then you have no value. You can't belong. You will be ostracized. You'll be treated with disdain. You'll be mocked. You'll be shamed. You'll be made to feel guilty for doing the right thing. So we must decide that against all odds, we must remain sane, we must remain sound, and we must remain sensible. What are ways that we can remain all that we have just mentioned? The first one is your spiritual connection. Yes, your spiritual connection to God is the chief directive of your life. If you do not have a solid, stable relationship with God, you will be tossed about by every wind of ideology, every wind of doctrine. Today, someone will come and say, this is the right way. Then tomorrow, another person will come and say, no, that way is the wrong way. And you will keep jumping from pillar to post. What your relationship with God does with you is that it gives you clarity. It gives you stability. You're not shaken by the things you see or hear because there is a confidence in the fact that you have discovered yourself in God. Your relationship is rooted in the identity that God of yourself that God has shown to you. Not because someone says this is how you should live or how you should act or how you should behave. Not because someone says if you do this, it is the right way, or if you behave like this is the wrong way. But because you have actually tested and trusted, and you know within yourself that the right path is what I'm on, and I can't trade this path for anything else. So your relationship with God tops the list. The next one is to seek appropriate source of knowledge. Like I said earlier, there are so many teachers, there are so many mentors, so many leaders, so many pastors, so many people who are saying everything. Everyone is now a teacher. Everyone knows something. But then there are people who truly know. And you must seek that right source of knowledge. It's something that you would even prayerfully have to seek. That God will lead you to the right voices. That God will direct you to hear from the people who are seasoned, who are healthy, whose spirits are clean. Because who you listen to and what you hear determines what you become. It determines where you belong. It determines the output of your life. If you're listening to somebody whose spirit is corrupted, even if that person is saying the truth, it is corrupted truth and it will corrupt your soul. It's not about what is being said, it's about who is saying it, the spirit behind the person. These days, when you go online, you see a lot of online pastors, unanointed men of God, who anointed themselves and took over the pulpit of social media, and they are spreading the apostasy in the name of the gospel. When you listen to some of them and you are not careful, you will fall prey to the manipulations of the devil. The third one is to seek guidance on crucial matters of life. Seek guidance on crucial matters of life. The Bible talks about this in the book of Proverbs, where it says that in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Where you have a counselor, where you have somebody who you are accountable to, who you can ask for a second opinion, you reduce your chances of making mistakes. Today, we have a lot of young people who do not want to be told what to do, who do not want to listen, who do not want to be controlled, who wants to live their lives the way they please. You can't even correct them because they feel they are tech savvy, they are 21st century, they are woke enough. And because of that, every other thing that the older generation says is rubbish. They trample it under their foot. But that is a wrong mindset. There is still a place to be guided. There is still a place to be directed and redirected. And nobody is above knowledge. Nobody is above learning. Nobody is above correction. We are still learning, and learning is a part of life. You can never get to a certain age and you feel that I have learned enough, nobody should teach me anymore. That's not true. You can learn from anybody and you can learn at any age. God can use a child to teach an old man. God can even use an animal to teach you. God can use nature. You can learn from anybody. So seek knowledge before you take crucial decisions, before you make conclusions based on what you saw on social media, based on what somebody posted on their status, based on what you saw that was trending. Before you take that dive, please ask questions. Seek counsel. Oh, they said now this is the way that those in higher institutions should be behaving. If you go to, as a young lady, if you go to higher institution, this is how you're supposed to behave. If you are not behaving this way, you can't succeed. Who says that? Who sets those standards? You must seek counsel. And the next one is ask questions. Ask questions. God gave you the mind to think for a reason. The act of critical thinking is very important in life for success. You must learn to ask questions. You must learn to question. You don't just jump on the bandwagon. You don't just see something happening and then you conclude that, oh, that is the way to go. Take a pause and ask questions. Oh, everybody is doing this trend. Oh, is the trending thing now is a language that everybody is using now. Before you use it, think about it. Where did it come from? Who originated it? How did it start? What is the meaning? What value does it add? How does it change me positively? How does it influence me positively? Oh, I want to try out this new way of doing things, new dance style. What is the profitability in my life? What does it change? Does it make me any better? Ask questions. When you ask questions, it gives you opportunity for calculated decisions. Don't be impulsive. Let's not be so quick to act, so quick to say yes, so quick to jump on. These days we're having a lot of spontaneity in content. You meet somebody on the road, all of a sudden the camera is in your face and they're asking you to do something weird. That in itself is pressure. And in that moment, if you're not sane enough, if you're not calculative enough, if you're not being sensible enough, you will act in the spur of the moment just because you are standing in front of a camera, just because you want to make an impression. You will do something stupid. And then when you leave the scene, you start to regret. You start to regret. You wish you haven't done it. Sometimes by that time, it's already too late. It's gone viral. You've become the talk of the town. People have seen it. You have created an impression of yourself that you really may not have been. That may not be a true definition of who you are. It could have been an act that was engineered by a spontaneous decision, but that would define you. Not too long ago, there was this viral video of a young lady who got up and followed somebody to nowhere. Oh well, who cares about your post explanations? Who cares about your excuses? Who cares about the reason why you did what you did? The deed is done. You can't undo those things. And it's worse because they have been saved in time. The social media design is in such a way that whatever you put out there remains out there for life. Yes, for life. Even if you delete it, the possibility that it can still be evacuated is there. Your children will grow up and see those things. They will see your foolishness. And with the way that the world is going, in 20 years' time to come, in 30 years' time to come, certain people will be pulled down just because of one careless decision, one careless statement, one careless action, one uncalculated step. You climb the ladder of success, you climb into politics, you climb into, top organizational levels, and you are all of a sudden the talk of the town, and suddenly somebody is beginning to dig your history, and they go back, they start digging out things about you, videos. They start looking for, at that point, they are looking for something to discredit you. And if you have a past that is capable of haunting you, they would make sure they get it and use it against you. And that's how a lifetime of success, what someone has built for years, can be destroyed just because of one mistake of the past. Please, let's be sane. Let's be sound in our spirit, and let's be sensible. in our actions. The next one will be use your intuition. Your mind has a way of catching the first, the first click. It catches the first impression. It could be wrong sometimes, but on many occasions, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. If you're having a second thought, if you're not too sure, if you feel uncomfortable, if it feels weird, if it feels off, then it probably is. And in such moments, better not to act than to act and regret why you acted. The next one, stay vigilant and alert. Please stay vigilant. Know when to disconnect. You could be listening to something, you could be watching a movie, you could be doing something, you could be listening to a podcast, you could be playing a conversation, you could be doing anything, and the tides suddenly change, like on the ocean. The tide suddenly change. You don't just keep going. Have you seen where the tides change on the beach? Sometimes the water level looks okay. All of a sudden, there is some reactions in the water and the tides start to go up. When you see such scenes, you will see the water divers and rescue team, they start to tell people to go off the beach, the water, because at that point when the tides change, if you do not take a quick action, you are diving into destruction. You will be lost. So no matter how you think that everything looks okay, you must still be vigilant. You must still be alert. You might be listening to something, oh, they are making sense, until all of a sudden it's not. Please, at that point, disconnect, because you need to be sane. You were listening to something, you were watching something, you were in an environment, and all of a sudden it starts to feel strange. You feel like something changed in the atmosphere. Take your leave unapologetically. Sometimes you may not know why you had to do that, but much later you might come to find out that had you not left the scene the time you did, you would have endangered your destiny. Something happened when Saul was king. At a time, he lost his sanity. He lost his soundness of spirit. And he became senseless, even though he was king. And yet, even at that point, no one could take him off the throne. He was still a king. He was still giving orders. He was still commanding authority. But he was no longer okay. Now something happened. They found somebody to, help him calm down, because his was extreme. He even started manifesting signs of madness. They brought David to play music to help him calm down. And the Bible records that in such times, David will be playing a music to help this man heal. And Saul, this king, would set an arrow and want to pin him to the wall. Someone that was trying to help him feel better. Now, David was alert. He was vigilant. He didn't just say, oh, because he was playing for a king, oh, because he was in the palace, oh, he's safe and all of that. The Bible says that David conducted himself wisely before Saul. Wisely. He acted wisely. There were certain times he had to dodge. He had to run away for his life. Yes. Even when he married Michal, the daughter of Saul, at a point, he had to run away and say, if I don't go, your father will kill me. Nothing is more important than your life. Nothing. No cruise, no trend, no virality, no recognition, no popularity is more important. No sense of belonging is more important than the value that your life has and the value that is embedded on your destiny. Please stay alert. The next one is prayerfully make choices. There are 10 points. I'm on number 7 now. Prayerfully make choices. Sometimes it looks good in your eyes and it looks good in the eyes of everyone until you go and pray about it and you find out that something doesn't align, and then you get redirected. So prayerfully make choices. It guides your sensibility. The next one is journaling. Journaling. Sometimes to be able to understand why things happen, sometimes to be able to stay coordinated, to be able to stay sound in your mind, you would need to journal. You will need to write things down. There are times where when everything is so chaotic, there are so many options, so many opinions. You have even asked people and everyone is just giving, an avalanche of opinions, and you now become more confused. Sometimes in those moments, you might need to sit down and write meditatively. Think about it. Now, journaling helps you to process events, process things that have happened, and then be able to sieve out what is the most valuable thing for the time and the season. So journal. The next one will be reflect. It's close to journaling. Introspection. Sometimes you just think, take time to think. Part of the problem we have these days is that many people are more quick to do. They are more quick to take action than they are to think. They are very forward, very, very impulsive, very, very, you know, jump on the wagon. They easily jump on the wagon. But sometimes you might need to pause. You might need to think. You might need to deliberate, sleep over the matter. Take a few days, sleep over that suggestion, over that thing that somebody is asking you to do, over that thing that everybody seems to be doing and you're the only one who is not. That everybody is doing it does not make it right. Everybody can be wrong. It was during the time of Saul, King Saul, when he was still the king. By this time, he had become mad. Now, he lost his sanity, he lost his soundness, he lost his stability, and in that state, he was giving unreasonable instructions. One of those instructions was that they were going for war against the Philistines, and he gave an instruction that nobody should eat. And the soldiers were hungry and famished and weary, tired. There was no strength to fight anymore. They were so tired. But because the king has said, don't eat, in a bid to obey the king, they were nearly going to die. Now, his son, Jonathan, unfortunately, he didn't hear his father's announcement. And he saw honey in the bush and took the honey and ate. The Bible said that his eyes became wide. That meant he suddenly began to see better. He suddenly regained strength. He suddenly regained sight. And then, in the strength of what happened to him, he went to that war and he fought the Philistines and defeated every one of them. That was a battle. He took their garrisons, rather. He took the garrisons of the Philistines. But this was something that an army was meant to do. Now, after he had eaten the honey, someone told him that, oh, your father had given such an instruction that nobody should eat anything. And he said, listen, my father is not okay. Everything is not right. So that all of you didn't eat doesn't mean that all of you are right. I have eaten and I feel better. So you see how his sense of judgment and soundness saved the whole Israelites, because if he hadn't eaten that, he probably wouldn't have captured the garrison of the Philistines, and probably the Philistines would have wasted everybody. Sane, sound, sensible. The last one, which is not the least, of course, is disconnect to connect. Disconnect to connect. Yes, social media seems to be the hype, and if you're not there, if you don't have access, it's like you are out of this world. That's not true. Everything happening, more than half of what happens on social media has no connection, has cannot carry the weight of what reality is. People show you the good sides. People show you what they want you to see. People show you, they tell you what they want you to hear. They don't show you their mistakes. They don't show you their failures, their errors. They only show you what will make them look better in your eyes. So sometimes it will be necessary that you just disconnect. Take social media break. Interact physically with people. Engage with people. Don't always stay on your phone. Keep the phone. Have conversations with your family members, with your parents, with your siblings, with your friends. Engage with the community. Speak to people that are intelligent, people that are experienced and exposed. Ask questions to elderly people. And that way, you stay connected. You are able to place what happens on social media with real life experiences, and you're able to determine which is the better, judgment. These days, with the invasion of AI, we are seeing a lot of reality look-alike videos and things, and we can't even tell which is real and which is fake anymore. But in all of this, stay connected to your fellow human beings. In conclusion, wisdom is profitable to direct. In all you're getting, get wisdom. Don't allow yourself to be deceived by someone's fragments of imagination, by someone's misaligned thoughts and delusions. Don't allow your spirit to be corrupted by somebody whose spirit has already been surrendered to the devil. Test all spirits, that's what the Bible says. Like the girl with the spirit of divination who was following Paul about and shouting, "These are men of God," yet she was carrying the spirit of demons. It took Paul 7 days to discern that this girl, she's not really following us. She's not really a part of us. The spirit that was controlling her was a demonic spirit. And at the point where, imagine Paul with all his anointing could not discern it until after a few days. And until he couldn't discern it, that girl kept on following them. Now, the intention was that when Paul left their city, that girl will now become the voice of the gospel, and she will lure many people to the devil, because people will believe her because she walked with Paul. This is someone whose spirit has been corrupted. If your spirit is corrupted, you will not be sound. You can't make right judgment. You would not act in a you have an experience of somebody who is acting under demonic influence. You will do things you don't want to do. Your sanity, your soundness, and your sensibility are the systems that maintain the tripartite components of your life. And what are those tripartite components of your life? Your spirit, your soul, and your body. Please stay sane, stay sound, and stay sensible. And this is where we come to the end of Fettling Flames episode 5. Thank you for staying with me. I'm so glad to have had you all through this session, and I hope to see you again same time next week. Have a nice evening.